And the reason why is because it tessellates as it goes. So if I grab this area and move it, you can see how it's adding triangles as I go. And it'll do that forever, which is really fun, because it's just like adding clay for as long as you want. It's so if you're familiar with Dynamesh, it's similar to Dynamesh, but Dynamesh doesn't tessellate as you go. And that's where I use that the most. And the reason why is because it's very fun to start out by grabbing and moving and finding shapes. So say if I want to find, like say, a jawline of a guy, if I can really quickly edit and find face shapes. I can push things in and out if I want it. I can make him have a bigger head. It's just really fun and fast to make large edits across the surface. So maybe we can give this guy a really long head like this. Then, let's say if I wanted to make a neck, I could pull this out like this. You see how it kind of pinches as I pull? There's another brush called Inflate right here, where you can push C and make my brush size a little bigger, and you can just barely paint on the surface, and it will inflate that out. So if I turn wireframe back on, you can kind of see what's going on. And I can do that on the chin too, and it'll tessellate that area, adding detail where I need it. So far so good. I can do the same thing if I want a nose. Just grab my grab brush and just pull out a nose. And what's fun is I can test it. So from the side, I'm like, well, do I want the nose there? Do I want to have a high nose up here? Do I want to have a bigger nose? And to undo, I'm just pushing Control Z like any other program. So, or I can come down like this, a big beaky beak, or just a little tiny thing. If you go on the outside of the line, it's going to make two of them. So you want to try and be right on that midline. Maybe okay, so let's go with kind of a big nose here. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to inflate the end, just add a little bit of surface detail. When you inflate it, adds some more triangles as you go. Now, there's this really fun brush called the crease brush. And what that does is it makes a line. It kind of digs in, kind of carves into your surface, like this. So if I want to make him have a big nostril or something like that, you can just push and carve into the surface. It's really nice. And then I can come back with my inflate brush, shrink the size a little bit. As you can see, I prefer the bracket keys instead of the shortcut. I'm just using ZBrush doing it that way. And then you can come in and inflate. So this behaves a lot like ZBrush, but the tessellation makes the surface a little looser, and the sculpt feeling is not the same. It's close, but there's something missing. And the surface undulates a lot. In ZBrush, it's a lot smoother, just because of how it works with the tessellation. So to smooth the surface, you'll want to hold down Shift. Shift, let's turn wireframe back on. So Shift, see the reason it's going down quickly when I smooth right here is because there aren't very many triangles right here. So the more triangles in an area there are, the slower it is to smooth, because there's more information to average out. So that's what smooth does, it averages out the vertices, these little dots that make up the triangles. So as you're smoothing, it's slower. It's also quicker if you're out on an end like this versus on a flat surface. On a flat surface, it takes longer to smooth. Okay, so you can also use this brush called Reduce. Reduce will reduce the number of triangles in an area. So since I put this crease here, it added a lot of detail, and it feathered the detail out. And say I want to come back in and reduce that detail. You just go over with the Reduce brush. It will reduce it down. Okay, let me turn that back off. Let's see. Let's go through these. So using crease, there's also an inverse way of using crease. So if you hold down Alt, it will do the inverse. So it'll make it come out instead of go in. Okay, so you can just try all different ways of using that. I use it all the time. Then the next brush is Draw. Now Draw will just kind of lay a tube down on the surface. I actually have clay turned on, so it adds a tube kind of like that, and you can hold Alt down and it will dig into the surface like that. It's kind of fun. But I really like to turn clay on. Softness doesn't make that big of a difference, I notice, so I really don't pay attention to soft. But if I turn clay on, it's going to cap off the surface. It still does a tube, but it's like a flat tube. And I use this to build up the clay more. So, let's see if I want to paint the tip of this nose here. Let's see what it's doing. See how much detail it's adding when I do this. And I can come back with my reduce brush and reduce it back down. And reducing is kind of smoothing too. So when I have more detail, it's a little undulaty. Okay. So now that I have that, I can come in. There's another brush called Flatten. Okay, and how Flatten works is it will take the first surface that you touch and start to flatten your clay. Can you see that? And you can turn on lock plane, and it will just lock whatever plane you start with. If that makes sense. So it'll lock the plane that you first touch, and then as you go, it won't follow the surface, it'll follow the plane. So we'll turn that off. Now the next one is Pinch. The pinch is just kind of a cleanup brush. So you can take your crease that we made before, and then we pinch it. And what that does is it tightens it up, cleans it up. Okay. So like I said, it doesn't clean it up as tight as ZBrush would, but it does a pretty good job. So now that we have that, let's talk about there's Smooth Brush. I've already shown you Smooth Brush. Smooth is just when you hold down Shift, it'll smooth. So if you want to actually click that brush and smooth, you can do that too. It'll smooth it out. Okay, let's go back to Grab. We're going to talk about masking really quick to make his mouth. To mask, you hold down Control and draw, and it will draw like a black mask on the surface. And basically what you're doing is you're telling Sculptress, I don't want to touch this area right here. Okay, so you're just basically masking off an area that you don't want to sculpt on. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm masking out the upper lip because I want to pull the lower lip out. So I'm going to get a brush that will touch the lower lip, but won't go too high. In fact, actually I'm just going to mask this off just in case. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit bigger brush and I'm going to pull this out. Give him kind of a bucket lip. If you didn't have that big of a nose, he'd catch rain. Okay, I'm going to pull his chin out a little more. Okay, and then to clear the mask. And to clear the mask, you just hold down Control and drag off of the surface, and it'll clear the mask. And if you want to invert the mask, all you have to do is hit Control and tap on the outside. Just try tapping; it'll invert the mask. If you'd like to clear it, you just click and drag. Okay, so we have the starting of our mouth, and let's see here. I'm going to go grab the pinch brush. I'm going to pinch along the surface here and see what it does. Just trying to clean up that lip a little bit. Okay, now I want to make an area for the eyes where the eyes will go. And I'm going to go back to the trusty Grab brush, and I'm going to drag in where the eyes would go. And I'm going to push towards the nose and start to create a socket. And I'm going to smooth it back out and push. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a nice ridge line that goes from the brow down the nose and across. So we have a nice flow. And I don't want to ruin the flow that we have going down the forehead, down the nose. Okay. And then I want to pull the eye socket back enough that an eye can sit in there nicely. We'll push it. Just push it around. We're messing around with our nostril here. It's pretty big. So, okay. Now that we have that, I'm going to go back to my pinch brush, and I'm going to pinch along this brow line here. Okay, then I'm going to go back to grab, and I'm going to drag this. Actually, let's try inflate. Let's see if we can get a result. Inflate. I want to inflate that brow, so it's got some more volume to it. This guy has no head volume. It just drops right off after the brows, which is kind of fun. For the ears, usually ears go from the top of the eye to the bottom of the nose. So how you can put it in a cartoon, you can kind of put them anywhere, just as long as you like the way they look and where they go. So let's turn on grab, and let's look at it from the front. I think I want it like down in this area somewhere. I'm just pulling it out to kind of get an idea of what it would look like. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now that this is pulled out, I can start forming the ear, pulling it back. It's just as easy as that. It's just tessellating as I pull it out, and just make that ear shape. Then I can come back here and smooth it into the head. Yeah, something like that. Now to add the eyes, all I have to do is there's a button right here that says New Sphere. And I click on that and it'll say, do you want to do a new scene or add an object? And I'll just click add an object and it'll give me these giant spheres. And I just click on the surface and it'll just add in there. Then I go to that global scale that we talked about earlier. I just click and drag on that. And scale them down. Then you can go back to grab and pull them into the head like this. You guys have big eyes. Make them a little smaller. Maybe not that small. Okay. Now we talked about inverting the mask. I'm going to hit Control and just tap. So now I won't affect the eye. I'm going to build up some eyelids. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the clay draw and work on building up some lids here. Now I want to affect the surface underneath that eyeball, so you kind of just have to go along the edge and pull a lid down across the eye like this. To kind of build up some eyelids. I'm going to do the same thing to the lower eyelid. Just kind of go back and forth and build up that volume. It's okay if it looks messy right now. We'll fix it. We just want to get the clay there and kind of going around the eye. Okay, I'm going to go back to my grab brush. Okay, that's fine. So it's not global. I just need to turn global off. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. Now I'm going to use the crease brush to start cleaning this up. So I want to have a lip to the edge of the eyelid. So I'm going to drag that, just leaving a little bit of space between the actual eyeball and the eyelid. And I'm holding down Alt so it pulls it out. Then I'm going to push in and just go along that crease again. And drag the eyelid out. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this lower eyelid, holding down Alt, pulling it up. So there's kind of a ledge. And then coming back without holding Alt and cutting in a crease to create that lower lid. Might be kind of fun to give him an eye bag. So let's turn on draw clay again. Maybe build up a little bit of an eye bag under here. And then come back in with crease and tighten that up. Here we go. Okay, now I can get clay again and just hold down Alt and start pushing in the details of the ear if I want. Start to create a surface. Every time you lift up and push down, it's going to push even deeper down into the ear there. So I want it deeper down here and actually kind of make a hole. It's kind of fun. And then I want a ridge right here, so I'm going to grab the crease brush again and just put a little ridge through here. But I don't like the volume on where it connects to the head, so that's really thin and kind of flat there. So I'm going to grab the inflate brush and inflate that edge, bring it up. Yeah, something like that. Okay, that works. And I usually do the thing on the back of the ear where I create like a cup where it connects to the head. So I'm just going to, it's too small of a brush, I'm going to make the brush a little bigger. There we go. Just going to make a cut there. Smooth it back down. Then I come in with crease. I crease around that cup just to create some interest where that connection is made. And then smooth it back down. I'm not going to create a shirt or anything, but if I was going to do that, what I would do is I would just add another sphere and then bring it in here and then put his neck inside the shirt. But I'm just showing you how far you can get with Sculptress. You can do with Sculptress and try it for free without having to fork out the money for ZBrush. You can try it and see if you like it. I like ZBrush a lot. And I like Sculptress a lot. I like ZBrush a lot better because it has so many more tools. This is just a basic sculpting program to get your feet wet and see if you're actually going to like it. So what I really like about it is you can just try stuff and say, what's it going to look like if you had a cone head, right? What's it going to look like if you had a gigantic noggin? Is it going to be better, worse? You just try a whole bunch of different things. So it's kind of like concepting in 3D. Okay, now when you're done with all this, actually let me detail his eye a little bit. Let's grab let's turn on wireframe. Yeah, see it's pretty low in geometry. So let's grab the crease brush, maybe flatten, and let's flatten his eye out. I'm going to turn on wireframe to make sure we can get the detail we want. I'm going to get the draw. I'm going to go, whoops, too fast. I got to clay on the eye. Okay, there we go. That's kind of what I want. You'll have it looking down a little bit. There we go. Then I'll shrink it. Let's see, I'm going to do some pinching around this to add more detail. Then push this in for a pupil. And pinch it again, just to add more detail there. Okay, like I said, Sculptress isn't the cleanest. You can get it fairly clean, but it's kind of tough to do. With ZBrush, it's a lot easier. Okay, just move that out of there. Give him kind of expression. I want to pull his eyebrow out just a little bit more. Maybe even give him a little bit of an eyebrow. Okay, so when you're all done, when you're comfortable with it and you like what it looks like, you can take it to the paint module. And what's different about Sculptress versus ZBrush is when you want to paint on the surface, you actually have to be done sculpting. So let me reduce a little bit right here. This eye's bugging me a little bit, okay? The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to take our model over to the paint module to get it painted. Now that's a little different than ZBrush. ZBrush you can paint while you're sculpting, but with Sculptress, since it's made out of triangles, and Sculptress will need to create UVs in order to tell the paint where to go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit this paint button. And I just stick with the 512 resolution. Okay, it's going to build UVs. Then once in the paint area, you're going to have a checkered surface. And that's just describing the areas where the UVs go. You can see some seams. And those are UV seams. That's just the way Sculptress does things. So you need to be careful where those seams are because when you're smoothing your color, sometimes it won't smooth across those seams. So you need to be kind of careful. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're just going to find a base color. So you click on this color here, and you just go find one that you like. Let's make this guy just a Caucasian dude. And then there's this button called Fill. Just hit Fill. That's a little pink. Let's go. Okay, let's try again. Fill. That's a little better. Just on warm tone. Maybe even a little more, or a little yellower, a little less red. Try it again. There we go. Okay. So now we have our base colors. Let's go in here. I haven't quite figured out how to mask off different objects, so I'd really like to find out. So if you know how, please leave it in the comments. But for now, I'm just going to try and hand paint that eyeball in there. Okay, so I'm going to get close and just paint as best as I can up in here without painting on the eyelid. So I'm going to move over there and try. I'll come back. I also don't know how to eyedrop colors, so if any of you guys know how to do that, please leave it in the comments. I don't use sculptures that much, so I just wanted to show you guys that it's out there, it's available. Easy, free way to start sculpting. You can also hold down Shift to smooth the color, and it'll blend the color into its neighbor. ZBrush will do that too, it's really nice. Okay, so let's pick a black color for the people here. Make that people black, and let's give them blue eyes. Maybe. Let's find a good blue. Alright, that works. I guess I should paint that first. Let's see, let me put a little highlight in the bottom of his eye. It's a little too teal. So I'll go lighter. So here's your color that you're working on. Okay. It's a little too gray. Sorry, bear with me here, almost done. That works. Then I'm going to go darker. It's just kind of faking shadows here. Get that people back in. Okay, zoom out, see what it looks like, not bad. Then what I can do is go back and get that skin tone again, but this time go a little darker. Okay, and then we're going to take the strength down and paint in some more shadows, like some eyeshadow. Just a little bit under his eye. Down his nose just a bit. In his ears just a bit, just the dark areas. Maybe a little under his nose. Under his chin and his neck. Behind his ear. Okay, then I'm going to paint his eyebrow. I want that pretty dark. Okay, turn the strength back up so you get a harder edge. I can blend that a little bit just to make it look like hair. So this is the UV seam I was talking about. See that hard edge? It doesn't quite work how you expect it to. But that's good for now. Give it kind of reddish hair. Then I'm going to just kind of paint in the hairline. Now in ZBrush I should actually take the time to sculpt the hair, but for this demo I'm just going to paint it in. I'm going to make him kind of a bald guy. Like me. Hair challenged, okay. Alright. Now I'm going to, this is the fun part, just add some red to the skin tones. Reddish pink. Turn the strength down. Make the brush big. I'm just going to go in and warm him up. This is the fun part because it makes him come alive. A little lighter there. You warm up his ears, anywhere that's like loose, fleshy bits, like ears and nose, cartilage areas. And his lips. Kind of fun. Now when you get down into the chin area,